Всім привіт! 12 травня президент України Петро Порошенко на своїй сторінці у Фейсбук звернувся до Марка Цукерберга і попросив його, щоб той відкрив український офіс Фейсбук. Бо, бачите, російський офіс Фейсбук модерує українські пости і видаляє їх. На що Марк відповів, що це питання він розгляне на такій конференції, як «Питання і відповіді з Марком». Це він і зробив вчора, 14 травня. І ось як відреагував на питання зал на цій конференції.
Follow-up to this, and we'll show this on the screen. The Ukrainian president, Petro Poroshenko, actually sent in a question as well. And he asks, Mark, will you establish a Facebook office in Ukraine? Hi. It's a mouthful.
А ось що відповів, власне, Марк. Я спеціально переклав всю його промову, щоб ЗМІ не могли маніпулювати думкою і не придумувати те, що він там сказав чи не сказав.
All right, well, let's get into it. So 45,000 votes for that question is I think makes it by far the most voted on question that we've ever had at one of these Q&As. So I did some research before this to make sure that I had the right answer to this one. There were a few different parts of the question. One was about content moderation and some specific types of content that have been taken down that some Ukrainian folks have posted. The second part of it is about how we do moderation and overall kind of what our approach is to that. And then the third, which Ukrainian president has written in on, is will we open up an office in Ukraine? So I'll go through each of those. For the first, there's been a bunch of content that has been posted that violates the rules that we have around hate speech, right? So we don't allow people to post content on Facebook that is overtly hateful towards another group, that has ethnic slurs, that tries to incite violence towards an ethnic group or anything like that. And unfortunately, there were a few posts that folks were posting that kind of tripped that rule, and other folks in our community reported that in, and we looked at those, and we made the determination that some of these posts included these ethnic slurs against some Russian folks, and we took down those posts. And I looked into this personally because this question had 45,000 votes on it, so I wanted to make sure that I understood what I was talking about before we got up here, and I stand by that. I think we did the right thing according to our policies in taking down those posts, and I agree with the policies that we have around not supporting hate speech. I think that is a good set of rules that we have on the system. Now, there were a couple of questions that folks were asking about, were these posts by Ukrainians moderated by Russians, where there's the ongoing conflict between Russia and Ukraine. And there was this meme that was floating around that this policy and the content moderation was done out of a Russian office by Russians who were anti-Ukrainian. And that's not true. So first of all, we don't actually have a Russian office. So anyone who thinks that this was done out of a Russian office, that should probably put that to rest. We also don't have a Ukrainian office, and we actually don't have offices in a lot of countries around the world, but maybe over time. And what we try to do is when people write in and report content, we try to have folks who speak that language review it. And we have a European headquarters in Dublin where we have folks who speak a lot of different languages from around the world, look at the different content, and that's what we did here. Now, we did make one mistake, which was when we reached out to some of the folks to tell them about the content that we'd taken down. There was a bug in our system where we accidentally told folks that we were taking it down because the post contained nudity instead of hate speech. So that was a mistake, and we are there was a bug in the software that we were running. We fixed that. We have reached out and apologized to folks. It's pretty clear if you look at the post that they don't contain nudity, so I understand why that was the source of some confusion, but we'll try not to make that mistake anymore. To the question from the Ukrainian president, and I think a bunch of other people wrote in with this as well, about are we willing to put an office in Ukraine? You know, over time, it's something that we might consider, right? There are a lot of advantages to having people who work at the company, especially, you know, engineers and people who are building products, not spread all around the world, but instead just in a smaller number of offices where people can work more easily together, right? If you always have to video conference or make phone calls to collaborate with people and you have to work across a lot of different time zones, that puts a big tax on working together and makes it very hard. So there are areas like in sales or partnerships where it does make a lot of sense to have local teams who are working with local partners for things like engineering offices, and which is, you know, most of what we do at the company. You know, it really makes sense to kind of try to centralize that in as few centers as possible, which is why we don't have offices in a lot of places around the world. But as we do look to expand over time, we will certainly consider all of these countries. So thank you for the question that 45,000 people voted on, and for the Ukrainian president for writing in. I don't think we've gotten that one before.
Марк на увазі мав отакі от пости. Як бачите, в фотографії немає нічого поганого. Але сам опис до фотографії містив звернення і образи в сторону, скажімо так, інших народів. Тому ці пости модерувалися і закривалися. До речі, ось що сьогодні в себе на сторінці написав президент України Петро Порошенко. Як бачите, президент України думає, що діалог все-таки розпочато і що Марк, в принципі, колись там та й планує відкрити офіс. Але особисто я знаю правду, президент України так написав, тому що він просто не може попуститися в очах своїх громадян. Як же ж він напише, що Марк його попустив? Отакі от справи, друзі.